Actually, let me add one more thing to those functions. To the PV, I'm going to add a balloon payment. Okay. And to the FB, I'm going to add a starting value, which is not going to be terribly complicated. Uh, in fact, just to show you that part, I'm going to add them as optional parameters. So if you leave them out, they're assumed to be 0. This is ibalo equals 0 as double. Oh, I should say optional. Wasn't that the, let me see. I thought that was a thing. Let me check. It should be a default value. Actually, here. Oh, okay, you put it at the end. See, when you don't remember things, you're basically saying that that parameter, that input that you're going to put at the end, and you put optional parameters always at the end. If it's left out, it's going to assume the default value if you provide one. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I need to add the present value of that balloon payment. Well, that's easy to do. PV grow annuity plus PV1 ibalo irate ifreak itime. I'm just adding the present value of that balloon payment into the sum. So I'm going to do the same thing for this one. Optional IBG. I'm going to call it IBK. It means moon princess in Old Turkic. I means moon. As double equals 0. I wanted to make it optional so that it wouldn't screw up my other equations. FV grow annuity equals FV grow annuity plus FV1 IBK irate ifreak. Come on. And itime. Since I was able to spell FV grow annuity without a mistake, it's reverted to my original capitalization. Internally, it doesn't matter at all what it is. Okay. Now I have a code that calculates present value for growing annuity, but it also has a starting value. Think of this. You're going to save for retirement, right? You're going to start with $10,000. The first month, you're going to save $1,000. And after that, every month, you're going to increase savings by 1%, let's say. How much money will you have in your retirement account in 40 years? Well, FE Growth Annuity gives us that answer. So that's first payment. That's going to be a dollar amount. What else do we have? Frequency. That's going to be just a regular integer, so let's leave it as it is. Length of time. That could be non-integer. What else do we need? Oh, here I'm going to put a little checkbox. Okay. And just to show you, I'm going to actually make a conditional formatting on that. When it is checked, I want the whole thing to be green. I mean, normally I'm going to have this thing have a background of pink or rose, actually, somewhat. But depending upon its value, conditional formatting, manage rules, I'm going to do a new rule. Click on use a formula to determine which cells to format. And the formula is the value of this thing. Since I put in a checkbox, it's going to be either true or false, but just to be anal about it, I'm going to say if the value of that cell is true. What format to use? Well, I'm going to do a fill of, let's do more colors. Without screen, I happen to know the hex codes for that. 00B140. Because I've been using that a lot. I memorized it. Apply. Okay. Now, whenever I click on that, I can also change the font color. Let's make that yellow. Okay, let's make the background a little bit different. Maybe blue. No, let's make the font color blue. And background. Something like that. All right. Sometimes using a conditional formatting, you can communicate information. For example, in my basic finance class, when we calculate payback periods, it's important to figure out in what years running cash flows turn into positive. I basically do a conditional formatting. It turns into green whenever that running sum was negative the previous year, but non-negative that year. So you immediately see in what year, because the rest of the stuff depends upon that number. You can make that a little bit maybe smaller. I don't know, something like that. Now, this checkbox present if check. That means that I'm calculating present values using future payments. Okay. Uh, so my output is going to be if this thing is true, I'm going to make that present value, otherwise future value. That if function is very useful. You give a condition. If the condition is correct, it does whatever you want in the second argument. If it's not, it does whatever you want in the third argument. As you can see. All right. Now let's enter some numbers. Well, we're going to make all of these well screen formats. And that. Let's make that 5%. 2.5. 250. Monthly for 40 years. And my future value is going to be an output in this case. And I want that to be dollars, of course. But for now, oh, I missed one argument. Let's insert and shift cells down. If I'm doing present value, this is going to be balloon. Otherwise, starting. And I'm going to tag at the end of that value. Yes, yes. All right. Of course, this will have exactly the same one.